Okay, so I was just live and realized my mic was muted. My mic was muted. Anyway, and so I want to talk about my travels. I've been posting about what I've learned from traveling out of the country. Specifically, I started my series with what I learned on a trip I took to Johannesburg, South Africa. And in that trip to Johannesburg, I did a 1 day solo trip to go to Cape Town. And so I'm talking about this from a perspective of not playing small. I stopped playing small, I stopped shrinking, and it started opening up opportunities that I never would have imagined. This all started a couple of years before this trip, where I decided to really work on my inner self, connecting to my voice, right? Discovering who I am, what I really bring to the table through my work, through my writing, through everything that I was doing at the time. And the reason this is so important is because it is so hard to really hone in sometimes, depending on your background, depending on your level of confidence. It can be really extremely hard to figure out exactly who you are and to be bold enough to embrace. Okay, there it is. It's back. And so I am going to talk about this from that perspective. So, lessons that I learned traveling. First, this trip was, for me, it was, for me, I'll say it was the beginning of many trips, but it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Someone who I follow put out a call saying that they were going to do a trip. They wanted it to be a specific, unique group of women business owners. You had to go through a formal process to be interviewed. You had to apply. So I went through all of that and I was chosen. And we had several meetings before we went on the trip. And what I learned from that, first of all, was about shrinking. If I had like shrank, if I had not risen to the occasion, I never would have been on the trip, right? And so it built my confidence in that I had to, first of all, even apply to do it. I'm saying that because this was a community of people I had never met in person, a community that I didn't know intimately. Like you have your friends, you have the people you know. I didn't know anyone. And so this was me deciding to step out of my box, out of my comfort zone, and really just push and pursue something that I had never done before, right? And so it pushed me beyond my comfort zone. It showed me that growth can come in unconventional ways. And so when I originally applied to go on this trip, I wasn't thinking about growth. I was just thinking about connection, what I'll learn, what I'll see, but not about it pushing me to grow. But that's exactly what happened. When you go into a new space where you don't know anyone, community, and you have to push outside of your comfort zone to connect, it really shows you who you are. It really makes you have to hone your elevator pitch, which I'm not the best at. It really teaches you how to just present yourself, put your best foot forward, but present yourself in a way where you're approachable and yet people can understand what it is that you're about, what you bring to the table, and who you are. I also figured out going on this trip, seeing that call and then answering it, you don't have to have it all together to experience transformative moments. I think in the past, I would be hesitant to do something like that because I would have felt like, well, I mean, I'm not where I want to be in my business. I'm not where I want to be in life all the way. Things aren't as perfect as I would like, but you don't have to wait on that to embrace new experiences, to connect to the next level of growth. You can just keep going even if your previous season didn't 100% turn out like you like, right? I think that has been extremely hard because growing up, I always thought there was an order to life. You had to do this, then you do this, then you do this. That's not the case. It does not always happen in a linear fashion. Life does not always pan out exactly like we plan. You can plan it. I am not telling you not to have a plan. You can plan, but your plan may not go the exact timing and the exact order that you think it's going to go in, right? And so, saying yes to this curated business event, this trip, it made me have to step into unknown spaces, right? It just pulled out of me that next level of leadership of who I am. It gave me a glimpse into where I was headed, right? It just unlocked so many closed doors for me, and those were personal, right? It changed the way I saw myself, my capabilities. And so the trip, I went on a trip, it was great. When it was time to go back, instead of going back, I connected to a colleague that I knew already who lived in South Africa. And he connected me to someone in Cape Town who does wine tours. And so I ended up flying to Cape Town from Johannesburg, which was a great experience. So I had to book my flight, in a country to another country. And I landed and went straight to this wine tour, and it was beyond my wildest imagination. And so I ended up going on a wine tour in Stellenbosch. I didn't know anything about this. I'd never been on any wine tour, even in the United States. And so it was an exceptionally wonderful experience. And so again, it pulled out of me, what I thought I could do, like my abilities, right? Flying somewhere, connecting with a mutual connection, getting to where I needed to be, making sure that I was in a good place, right? Of course, I had recommendations on where to stay and all of that. But it was very liberating for me. It was a confidence builder. And so I want to do a few reflection questions. I'm just sharing about my experience, but we all have had them. And I want to know in the comments, have you ever traveled solo, or have you ever, even with another person, connected to a new group, a new community through travel? Did that help your confidence? Just want to know a little bit about your experiences. So we'll do a few reflection questions. The first one was, when was the last time you gave yourself permission to connect with new people and spaces? Not necessarily traveling, but just new people and spaces. Have you gone 20, 30 minutes outside of your comfort zone lately? Have you been to a meetup lately that you normally wouldn't go to? Even if it was like Zoom, not it didn't have to be like a physical place. It could be just a new group that you connect with via Zoom. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to connect with new people and spaces? The next question, how have you been taught to equate your worth with productivity, and what would it look like to rewrite that belief? Now, I'm talking about travel, and how that lines up with productivity is, if you're traveling, a lot of times your focus is on that. You might have to take off work or school or whatever it is that you're doing. Does it bother you to do that? Do you hesitate to travel to new spaces because you are always focused on productivity? Do you even see how travel and new spaces could help you be more productive, right? Could stir up your imagination, could potentially connect you to a new business opportunity. Do you even see it like that? The third question, what part of your healing journey still feels unfinished, yet is quietly shaping the leader that you're becoming? The way that is connected is that travel and leadership, solo travel or connecting to a new group, that is a leadership decision. You have to personally make that decision, right? What part of your healing journey right now is unfinished, but is contributing to who you're becoming as a leader? Is travel involved in that? And when I say travel, I mean, again, even just to a new restaurant, a new meetup space. What part of your journey is unfinished, but still being influenced right now to help you become the leader that you are? Again, I really love sharing about this because often I'm trying to think of a way to look at leadership from a non conventional perspective. What in my life shaped me to be the leader I am? I talk a lot about my adoptee journey, reconnecting to my birth family. That shaped me. Had I not done that, then the next thing that came up, I may not have had the courage developed to pursue. And so that is why I talk about this so much, because each experience that we have builds on the next experience. A lot of times we'll think of things like, oh, if I don't do this, this won't. No, each thing, whether you fail it or whether you beautifully do it, builds and leads you to the next thing. It is building the leader that you're becoming, and the world needs you. And so I appreciate you for joining me. I'm going to pin those questions. Those are reflection questions that you can journal or just ask yourself. Drop it in a comment. Have you stopped playing small, and where has it led you? Right? Where has it led you? Again, I appreciate you for joining me on this live stream, and I will see you next time.